Hey there, welcome to Kong Prep Sunday. This is going to be a two-parter. We're going to talk about treats because I want this to be like the lottery, right? You never know what it's going to pay. It's going to be paying big or it might just pay pennies. There's a lot to talk about with regards to treats, so we're going to be doing it here in the kitchen, and then we're going to be doing the next segment outside. With regards to treats and stuff like that, I like to make a whole collage of yummies. I also like to be thrifty as well, but I also need to make sure that the value of my treats are really, really high. What I have here is I have some chicken rollover. It comes in these massive logs that I cut up and keep in the fridge. All right. I always have hot dogs and I always have cheese. And with regards to my cheese choices, it's always like Havarti or mozzarella or something like that, or Swiss. I don't get anything like cheddar cheese and stuff like that because it crumbles a lot. And if I can afford it, I'll get goat's cheese because it's a little better for our dogs. But you know what? Sometimes you need to accommodate the budget. Now, with regards to my treats and stuff like that and how I prep them, I'm usually cutting and prepping treats almost every single day, depending on how many dogs I'm working with. But what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be making one baggie worth of treats. And one baggie worth of treats is usually good for, I'd say, a day's worth of walking and maybe 2 training sessions. So depending on your dog and stuff like that. And with regards to the size, I like to dice them up into cubes. And if I have a, say, 40-pound plus dog, I'll probably dice them up pretty big. So you'll see here I have the chicken rollover, and this size of treat is what I cut for my 13-pound dog. So if I had a 45 or 40 plus pound dog, I'd probably be going a lot bigger with my treat sizes, a little bit more, but this size. This here, I'm dicing up just a plain old baggie of treats, and this is just for my essential trick training. And I'm going to show you guys kind of 2 different treat bags depending on what I'm working on. So am I just doing some obedience training and trick training and things like that? I like to call it like lifestyle tricks. And then am I actually maybe counter conditioning for a dog who is fearful of something? So my 2 treat pouches for those 2 things would look very different. My trick training bag, my obedience life skill trick bag, is going to be all these diced up pieces, and I'll need them to be quick and easy to get out of the bag while I'm banging out reps in a training plan. However, when I'm working with a fearful dog, I am dicing up my treats in more bigger chunks, so probably like something like this, and I'm using really, really high value stuff because I'm not doing like a bunch of like repetitions. I'm just kind of doing like a one-off exposure to the scary thing randomly throughout the day. So that gives you an idea of kind of what your treat bag should look like depending on what kind of thing you are working on. But for most people, I say you always need your lifestyle treat bag always prepped and ready to go in the fridge for all of your walks and stuff like that with your dog. I've just finished up dicing my rollover. I'm making 2 bags. One of them I filled about halfway with the rollover, because rollover is my cheap treat that's pretty reasonably priced for dogs. Cheap for me, middle of the ground for dogs, just so you guys understand the pay lingo for both of those. And then my higher grade treats are my hot dog and cheese, and I'll dice them up the same way that I've diced up the rollover. And the reason why I like these treats in my treat pouch is because they're soft and they're reasonably high value. So when talking about like high value, dogs have kind of like a pay grade of treats. The penny treats, maybe they're kibble. And then they have their dollars, so rollover. Then they have their $5 hot dogs. And then they have their $10, which is cheese. And then you have your $50 ones, maybe steak, right? I just finished dicing up my hot dogs. Now we have the cheese. I just dice off like about a 2-inch thick piece. And remembering, I have a 14-pound dog. So this is in consideration of, and she's pretty active. So 14-pound active dog. If I say maybe had a 30-pound not so active dog, it'd be about the same. If I had a 60-pound active dog, it'd be double this. And if I had a 100-pound dog who is low activity, I would probably have the same amount as the 60-pound high activity dog. So it gives you an idea of the amount that you need for each dog and how much treats you're going to be going through for, say, 3 walks and 2 training sessions. Well, here's my cheese. Going to dice it up. You'll see with the rollover and the hot dogs, I just diced them up pretty similar for both of my bags. But with the cheese, I like to make little cheese slivers for my scared dog bag. So then I have some nice big chunks. And then I will just dice it up normal in my training bag. Perfect. And the reason for this is because I like to add a little bit of cheese into my training bag because I like it to almost look like a lottery machine. You never know when it's going to pay big. So every so often I might pay cheese. And that could be really, really exciting for the dog. And this is the base of my treat bag. We're not even done, okay? So I have my lifestyle tricks bag, and then I have my dog scared of something bag. And these are my bases. Sometimes I'll actually kind of prep these and put them in the freezer and have them ready to go. And it's important to understand kind of if we're going to be going through a whole Ziploc of treats in a day, this is our main reinforcer for our dog. We need to make sure it's really potent. So if you find your dog isn't too food motivated, what you can do is actually take some of their food, so their kibble and stuff like that, and you can put it into the bag as well. So instead of using the rollover as your base, you can use the kibble, then put in the hot dogs and cheese. We call this closing the economy. The dog is on a work to eat format, and so they're only getting their calories in through training and their walks, okay? And this can also be really good for fearful dogs. So I told you guys that I haven't been finished making my treat pouch. I gotta top these guys off. So sometimes I'll go into the fridge and just find whatever is kind of left over in there, and I'll put it into the treat pouch. Whenever I'm buying treats that are already pre-made, I really want to look for a single source protein. There's no wheat or pea protein or oatmeal or anything like that. It's all meat or dairy based. So I will add these to the bag. These aren't soft, right? When we get into the dehydrated stuff, we no longer have soft treats anymore. And soft treats are great for dogs who have maybe not a lot of teeth or are losing their teeth through puppyhood, have a sore mouth or something like that. But also it's far easier for them to eat. So they can get the rep done way quicker. They can gobble their treat down faster. You can go into the next rep really quickly. But I don't love these because they're super flaky. And when you have a flaky treat and you're trying to hold them in your hands and do some things where you need to, it's called feed in position. So you feed them for staying in the sit position, and you have flaky stuff falling to the ground and you have a dog that's super distracted, they'll just go looking for all those flaky things. So if you find your dog's always nose to the ground, kind of searching for all the remnants that have fallen to the ground, I'd say go for things like cheese and stuff that don't crumble and fall to the ground. Stay away from the dehydrated stuff because it's going to really ruin the mojo of your training session. And I love how big and chunky these are, and I will actually just throw them into my I have a scared dog training bag. I also, if I have a dog who is super scared of things,
with them, I will stash something that's extra special.
You're so bad. Oh, he's so bad. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. I'll actually stash something like this and this. This is a pig's ear and this is a beef lung underneath my treat pouch if I'm needing it in a last resort. Or I'll use this as a distraction. So if I'm doing things with a dog and I'm doing some loose leash training skills, I need to stash something that's going to be of interest to them. I'll take one of these on with me just as my distraction. And they're super easy to throw and toss and be kind of like a decoy squirrel. So we're pretty much completed our treat pouches here. Well, thanks for joining me on how I like to prep my treats for the day. So starting with that rollover hot dog and cheese base, and then adding your dehydrated stuff accordingly, and then dicing it up depending on whether you're just doing lifestyle trick stuff, and or if you're going to be working on some scary stuff. And then always having a pig's ear to your disposal can't hurt. And then next week, what we're going to be doing is really kind of tackling how to actually deposit treats. I know it's kind of like a weird concept, but it's not as simple as just taking one treat out of the bag and feeding them. There's different ways to have longevity with your treats, and I'm excited to teach that to you guys next week for part 2. All right, take care.